Hi everyone, I'm Christina Hug from the Makers Nation. We are an organization that is seeking to coalesce the arts, tech, maker, and design communities in Toronto and cities around the world. We're doing so by creating events, resources, and basically opportunities for interdisciplinary conversations and collaborations. So that's what I do during the day, but I'm actually here to talk to you about my soapbox issue of the moment. And that is that I want adults to play more. I know it sounds silly, but I'm going to tell you why we're not doing it, what we're missing out on, and what we can potentially do to start playing some more. So a bit of background about me. I recently moved back to Toronto after living in San Francisco for 3 years. I will admit that San Francisco is dubbed the Never Never Land of the US, and therefore there are plenty of opportunities to play. And so I might have been a bit biased when I landed into Toronto as to what that can look like. But that being said, one of the first events I ran was a BattleBot Royale with the Toronto Tool Library. Basically what this looked like was they put together a bunch of materials, everyone had the same stuff to work with, and then they had access to all the tools in the library, and they had to make a motorized robot that would fend off other robots, and last man standing would win. Obviously, being fresh off the plane from San Francisco, I assumed that the perfect audience for this was going to be the hackers, tinkerers, coders, people who like to take things apart and put it back together just to see how it works. So obviously I stocked up on Red Bull, licorice, jelly beans, all the things to get them through the day of making. And you can imagine my surprise when it actually turned out to be this gentleman right here who took home grand prize. And in fact, all of our participants were from grades 4 to 6. Hide the Red Bull. And I was baffled by this. Nothing in our material said that this was for children. It mentioned heavy machinery a couple of times. And so I started talking to people and said, what happened? And they said, well, if you make it about transferable work skills for your career, you'll get adults in droves. If you say creative, fun, play, you're going to get kids. Which, sure, I guess, but why do they get to have all the fun? And so this sort of brought me to think that maybe our perspective is a bit off at the moment, and we're looking at things as work and play as these two very different entities. And I'm here to sort of offer the perspective that potentially they can work together really well, and that they're actually meant to be together, and they help one another and they build off one another. When you start to dig into this and you look at just a small snapshot of some of the skills and qualities that you build just through play, I mean, this is just a couple of them. And if you look at them like, I'd like to work with these people, they sound nice. And this is not even mentioning the fact that it's been proven that if you play more, your cerebral cortex gets larger, so you have better cognitive skills, you're a better problem solver, you're more creative, more productive. And there's actually been proof that the less you play, the more likely you are to end up in prison. So I'm just throwing that out there. So how did we get to this point? How did we decide that we can outgrow play? When is that ever okay? And so what we're going to do is a little activity. This is a creativity test that is out of the Stanford D School. They do it every year. And so you're going to be using your pencil and paper that you picked up. And essentially, I'm giving you 20 seconds, so the length of the next slide, to look at someone sitting next to you and to draw their picture. But everyone get ready and go. Pencils down. Now reveal your masterpiece. So you're probably hearing a lot of nervous laughter and the word, I'm sorry. This happens every time you do this experiment with adults. You get nervous laughter and I'm sorry. And the reason for this is that we have this deep-seated fear of the judgment of our peers, which leads us to be more conservative in the way that we think and makes us less willing to be vulnerable risk takers and thus playing because we don't want to look silly. And so this is something that we're going to try and avoid. So the next game we're going to play is called I Like to Make. And so I'm going to throw this ball into the audience. Please avoid the light fixtures. I did not plan for those. And basically complete the sentence, I like to make. It can be, I like to make cookies. I like to make art. I like to make whatever it is you like to make. You don't have to stand up, just say it as loud as you can and pass it to the next person. We have 20 seconds. We're going to try and do as many as we possibly can. So I like to make communities.
I like to make cake. I like to make design.
Yes.
I like to make pizza.
Ah.
I like to make bad jokes.
And stop. So whoever has the ball can keep the ball for now, but essentially in that activity, the ball is a metaphor for play as a catalyst. It has an amazing ability to get you out of your comfort zone, to meet other people. You were tossing that to someone down there and you didn't even know what they were interested in, but now you know and you've met them all through play. And so bringing that back to the 4 quadrants that the Makers Nation is so excited about, in a lot of cities, we've recognized that these quadrants, even though they seem complementary, they actually end up operating as silos. And we want to find ways to use play to blur those lines a little bit and to get people comfortable being risky and taking and experimenting and building things together on a level playing field. And so again, I'm Chris. Oh, and so the moral of this story, I forgot this slide, is don't forget to play. And so the next time that you have an opportunity where you can really only rationalize that you're doing it for the fun of it, please do it, because it means that you will come out of it having learned so much more, meeting new people, and you will surprise yourself as to what comes out of simple play.